Good morning, my friends. Here I am going to speak on perspectives on comparative literature. So, there are certain theories that emerged in the context of the theory of comparative literature. They are basically post colonialism, multiculturalism, liberalization, and globalization. So, these are the four perspectives that I have picked it up, which had a huge influence on comparative literature. So, let's go point by one because we don't have much time left. So, the first one is a post colonialism. The very idea or the theme of the post-colonialism emerged because of certain historical phenomena that, like European power dominating politically and culturally many of the Asian and African countries through military conquest or trade relations. So when these Asian African countries become politically independent, they continued with the literary modernism, and it's a form that came with the European colonial power. The European comparative literature practitioners felt that they could not leave out the former colonies in their literary discussion because some of these colonized people were writing in the language of the colonizer and others were using the literary forms of colonizer in their own languages. And the Europeans felt that their own literary discussion or discourse would become richer if the former colonized people modern literature were brought into the circle of study and debate. So the problem that happens in the post-colonial studies in the relationship of former colonizer and the former colonized is the debate that took place mostly in the best universities, and many of the dominant scholars were from the West. And this movement, which brought in the concept of national literature with the colonized countries, also developed two other trends borrowed from European political and cultural trends. The first was obviously Marxism, and the second was a feminism. And at the same time, we also see that one way to become modern was also to enable women to come out and join the workforce as well as political right for freedom. And this gave rise initially to literature with strong women characters. And this did not acquire the level of feminism until the 1970s when the feminist movement picked up momentum in the West. So this Marxism and feminism could easily become parts of comparative literature, and it's a theory because of the phenomena of the post section of society, including women, could be studied across national literature of Europe and Asia and Africa. And the second was is a multi culturalism. So because of the mass exodus of migrants along with their own cultural histories, people could realize that multiculturalism has been become all cultural, which includes literary and order to be treated on equal footing. So now the question in the hierarchy and assertion of the cultural identities coming from the people from different places, and this become a criteria imposed from the Western perspective, and the text of the other cultural traditions have to be read with their own terms, and that this base theory of multiculturalism was making the case for cultural pluralism in a democratic society. It was also a phenomena and a theory that was confined to the United States and to a certain extent to Britain. Moving ahead, we have a third one is called liberalization. Though, like as we know that we are looking at here liberalization in terms of economic liberalization, and it only means that following for like it means that allowing foreign investors, manufacturers, traders into a country and removing their barriers that impeded such exchanges. It can be seen that liberalization in the sense of allowing things from outside the country has been continuously happening in the cultural sphere. For instance, invest in popular music, influencing young people and their music and music taste in Asia and African countries. And this was not a one-way flow. Music, especially from Africa, the roots of jazz was a critical factor in the best popular music. And then Western classical music was taken up by the Japanese and Chinese. Indian classical music found a little attentive listener to the West, but the impact of liberalization on literature and the study of comparative literature have not been examined sufficiently. So liberalization in literature, like in music, has been at work in a quiet manner. For example, Hindi writer Nirmal Verma's novel and certain stories have a distinctive European flavor and tone which came from the personal experience of the writer and used it effectively to make his own literary art. The other example is that of the Japanese writer Haruki Murakami, whose novels, stories unabashedly reflect Western tastes and taste and techniques. So this is, however, a counter-argument in the context of liberalization, and the critiques of liberalization feel that allowing foreign manufacturers and traders into the country would go only lead to economic slavery in new forms, but it also poses a danger to the culture of the country. So in the context of liberalization, comparative literature also take even a backward conservative term where it is argued that different literature traditions are in a danger of being swept away by the economic liberalization, and there is a need to fight back. In the facts of liberalization, the focus is on keeping the many literary traditions alive, each with its own distinctive identity. And the last one that we have is a globalization, that is a corollary of liberalization is a globalization. And obviously, it is also called satirically colonization or McDonaldization. And so post-colonialism further takes a translational turn, but it does not abandon the national identity issue, and therefore the national literature in the two Indian novels mentioned, mm, uh, only say, for example, if you read Ramayana and Mahabharata, it is clear that though written in English, they are works of uh, they are, of course, like they are works of translation at a deeper psychic and cultural level. Of course, this is not an entirely unprecedented happening. Joseph Conrad's writing is a people by characters from different countries floating in metropolitan world. This is to be clearly seen in his novel Under Western Eyes and in Nostromo and his novel At the Heart of Darkness. The theory of comparative literature faces the challenges of grappling with globalization and what it means for literature produced in different languages. Do they display the homogenization that is supposed to be evil consequence of globalization, or do they retain their distinctive identities what they are dealing with? These are the questions that I'm just putting it up for our further research as well. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.